property, is the agent entitled to commission for the sale. Again, what I said is, always treat each transaction as if it will go to court tomorrow. So you must have a written mandate. If there's no written mandate, then the agent is actually not entitled to commission. And you know what? Sellers are getting clever on this, and they will try to work us out on transactions like this. And I've been part of a few like where sellers try to work us out. So, any questions on this one activity? Now, there is another individual activity, scenario 3. Agent X has a sole mandate on a property and is approached by Agent Z to take clients to view that property. After viewing the property, Agent Z approaches the owner of the property and tells him he has a buyer. If the owner is prepared to cancel his sole mandate with Agent X and sign a new sole mandate with Agent Z. What is the legal implication of Agent Z's request? And what would be the legal implication if the owner, I don't know why it's duplicate, and what are the legal rights of Agent X? Somebody wants to try this one? Connie? Mercedes, go for it.
Yes. I think already since Agent X has a sole mandate on the property, and I think it will have a time frame as to when it expires, so he can't just change it as and when. So he would have to wait for the other one to expire first before he can change the request.
Now, it's true, but I think it's very unethical of Agent Z, because Agent Z was actually introduced to the property by Agent X.
Yes.
So Agent X, I will say, will definitely have a case in the fact of he was, although Agent Z is not the buyer, he was the effective cause of the sale because it was his client in action. Original client. You agree? Okay.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Now, duty to disclose relevant facts. State agent is see all facts concerning such property as are within his personal knowledge and which are or could be material to a prospective purchaser or lessee thereof. If he conducts his business in terms of a franchise, disclose clearly and unambiguously in all his correspondence, circulars, advertisements, and other written documentation that he operates in terms of a franchise and state there on his name and the number of his franchisor. That means you cannot complete a blank contract. You have to use your company where you are registered contracts to write your offer to purchase on. If he conducts his business under a trade name or style other than his own name, clearly disclose his full name in all correspondence, circulars, and other written documentation. Any questions to this?
Yeah.
An estate agent will not perform any mandate in respect of a particular property if a current prior mandate which conflicts with the aforesaid mandate has been accepted by him unless he has disclosed to the person who has given the later mandate the existence of such prior mandate and the fact that he will not be the estate agent's client in respect of that property. No estate agent shall purchase directly or indirectly for himself or acquire any interest in or conclude a lease in respect of any immovable property in respect of which he has a mandate without the full knowledge and consent of the person who conferred the mandate, or sell or let his own immovable property or any immovable property in which he has any direct or indirect interest to any prospective purchaser or lessee, or has retained his service without that purchaser or lessee having full knowledge of interest in such a movable property. Let's talk about this 4.2. As in estate agents and in the markets, especially nowadays with properties that can be quite cheap. This flips properties specifically. If you are an estate agent and you buy for yourself, you have to put it in the contract, and you have to be open to the seller to say that I am an estate agent and I'm buying for myself. You are also not allowed to buy a property for a very low price and sell it for a higher price. It's conflict of interest. If you sell your own property, even there you have to say that I'm an estate agent, it's my property, and you have to put it in the, there's a clause, other conditions, you must put it in there. Any questions to this one? Because it's very important, this one. This paragraph you can actually learn out of your head, because that one will definitely come up in the exam. Are you fine with this one?
Irina, there's a statement you just made that it is not allowed to buy a property if you're buying it for yourself, of course, as a estate agent, at a lower price, but sell it at a higher price. Am I hearing you correctly there?
Yeah, that's what I say. Unless you disclose it, you have to disclose it. You cannot just buy without disclosing it. For in case, I can just mention that my son is in Ireland and I had a mandate to sell their property here in South Africa. And I did not act as an estate agent because I am the seller. So I've sold through another estate agency company.
Oh, okay. All right.
But if you disclose it, that all parties must know it, then you can do it. It's not like it's against the law to do it. It is just that you cannot buy and sell in the same thing. But, you know, agents are doing that. That's going on for years, as long as you disclose it.
Yes.
Rina?
Yes.
If I can just add on to that question, what was the disadvantage of you not selling it yourself? Why did you have to pass it over to somebody? Because you could have just disclosed.
Yeah, I could have disclosed it, but the attorney said because I've got the full power of attorney, it can be later seen. Say, for instance, the buyer purchased the property and then he say, but there was something wrong with the property, or it was misrepresentation, or what. It can make your life very difficult, actually, and the way out is also very difficult. But what I did is I've spoken to the attorney. I know the attorney. If it happened that the purchaser came to me on private, I could have done a private deal directly with the attorney, and then they were keen and say yes, they will pay me the commission. But I feel I didn't do it.
Okay.
Rina.
But
right.
yes.
So
Patricia?
what happens? Yeah, what happens in case where developers, like I want to be a developer who will build and sell, and I want to sell for myself? Are you saying I can't? It's going to create challenges for me if I do that.
You know what? You can do that. There's a lot of developers. What is it? CHD is one. What is that big one in Soshanguve? They've got their own internal estate agents. So then you know you buy directly from the developer. You disclose it directly from the developer. And the developer is their company. As long as you disclose it, you can do it.
Oh, okay.
A development is a bit different from an individual residential where you make money.
Okay,
Because you
that's
will,
clear.
yeah, because you, if you are a developer, I will suggest you, if you don't make use of outside estate agents, you've got your inside agents, you're in any case going to pay commission. ValueMax is that company. And ValueMax is only paying 4% commission. Any questions to this?
Rina, I've got a question. It's Alex. Can you be your own agent that finds people to rent out your properties?
Yeah, if you are, do I understand you correctly, Alex? If you are a developer, you're asking
No.
if you
So
can
if
hire
maybe,
your
let's just say you own properties. Yeah,
Okay.
let's say you own a lot of properties or apartments, etc. Can you be the person who also finds tenants and manages those tenants and those properties?
If you are an owner of more than 3 properties that you're renting out, you have to make use of a qualified estate agent. If it happens that you are a qualified estate agent, you can do it yourself. Otherwise, you have to get somebody to do it for you. That's a new law under the new property practitioner bill.
Just to
Okay,
add
thank you.
also on what, yes, to add on what Rina said, I saw it with us when we're trying to come into development. The funders will always insist that you appoint a professional property management company. So what Rina is saying, you must always have professional estate agent to do that function for you.
We always say, Alex, and that was part of the mentorship training, is that we said that you must decide, are you a developer or are you the estate agent? If you are a developer, you concentrate on development. Yes, now you do the real estate training, and yes, you will eventually have your own real estate company. But then you do a proper real estate company where they do the residential sales, rentals, management, whatever. But if you're only in development, why not keep going on with development and let an estate agent worry about the tenants? Because I can assure you, you will do one building and you will manage one building and you will not have time to do a second one. Because each tenant that comes in, you have to qualify them. There's a big thing how you must handle a new tenant. And every month you have to run sometimes to collect money, to pay everything. Let somebody that's in that market, in that business, do that. If you are qualified and you've got your own company, you appoint people to do that for you. You're not going to do it yourself. You think you save money, but at the end of the time, you spend time, and time is money.
Mm. Yes.
I just want now, out of this, what other information would you like to see us telling you about this mandate and rental properties? Just for interest sake, I just want to make sure that we cover everything.
For me, I think it's just what I've been asking about the mandates, basically rentals as well. The selling and buying part is very clear. The mandate is very clear. I think I wanted to find out as well about rentals, if they're different, and also if an agent can lease out his own properties. I think that's pretty much it. But I think more people ask questions than other questions come as well.
Yeah, now what I want to do is, because in this training material, there was no official mandate included here. And I would like to do that on Wednesday night to show you the actual mandate and what is needed. Not only for you to use, because I know that was about a month ago, somebody approached me with a mandate, and I will take out the names, and I actually want to show you the mandate. What is the difference and how estate agents can catch you with a mandate. So I want you to make sure that you know everything about the mandate.
That will be very interesting. Thank you, Rina.
Yeah. Okay, public interest. A buyer makes an offer on a property through an estate agent. The agent advises the buyer of a financial institution that he can obtain a bond through. But the buyer wants to apply at a different bank and not the suggested option. The agent advises the prospective buyer that it is not a good idea, and if he wants to secure the deal quickly, he should go with the suggested option. Is the action of the agent in the interest of the public? Is the agent's action legal or ethical? Motivate your answer, and this is individual activity. I think it's good if we can talk about it. It's going to be much easier then for you to answer it. What will you say is the agent action in the interest of the public?
Rena, I think the screen is delayed because we are not yet seeing the question you're referring to.
Oh my, activity 24.
Just came now.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry for that one. Okay.
No problem.
All right.
I think it's no, Rina. Number one.
It's not in the interest of the public.
Yes.
Is the agent's action legal or ethical?
Ethical.
It's unethical.
No,
Okay.
no.
The reason why, they say motivate your answer. What will you say is the reason why it's legal or unethical?
Can I try?
Yes, please.
I think it's just, I think maybe in this case, he's just looking at the best interest, his best interest, because he wants to sell the property since it's already approved, and he's not looking at what the public is putting, what his other suggestions. Getting rid of the property because he already has an approval from the bank.
Yes, now that's also right. Another question, another answer that you can also maybe consider is that we as an estate agents are not financial service providers, the FSP. So we cannot give legal advice. But luckily, we have bond originators who's registered under the FSP, but a bond originator applies at all the banks. So it takes away that responsibility for the estate agent of giving the advice. But in this instance, the question is that is the action of the agent in the interest of the public? You are correct to say no. Is the agent's action legal or ethical? It's not legal and it's not ethical. And the reason is we are not financial service providers. And also, as Sidisha said, that maybe they've sold the property and they've got the bond, so why will they worry? Another thing that the bond originators also offer a service to our clients, it's very good, is that they do apply at all the financial institutions. client, and you must come banking with, since maybe you went out of school, you open an account there, it is now 30 years later, and you still bank there, and you think they will give you the best option and quotation. I can assure you, I've seen 8 out of 9 cases where another bank see an opportunity, and we call it, they buy you over through a home loan. If they see that your income is good and you are a good payer, they want you as a client. One of my clients where I sold a property with, exactly the same scenario. He insisted he wants with ABSA, and we did the application with ABSA. ABSA came back, they approved an 80% bond with him, plus prime plus 2. But I told him we're going to apply with all the other banks. He told me no, he's not interested. I said, well, in any case, the bond originator is going to do so. So let's go with the flow and see what's going on. Nedbank comes up, 100% bond, prime plus 1. Standard Bank comes, 100% bond, prime minus 25%. Now, do you think ABSA was acting on his in his advantage? Only approve him a long life client, 80% bond, where the others give him 100% bond. So you can never say that the bank where you bank with will give you the best bond and interest rate. So what we did, we requested the bond originator, try to fight down and see where can we land up, and we actually land up, and Nedbank came back and they actually gave him at the end of the day prime minus 1.75. So they went with Nedbank. So you see the difference how you approach a client. Rather do all the banks instead of just going with one bank. And then they cannot turn around and say you're working unethical or illegal. Any suggestions, Connie? I see you coming up.
I just wanted to just wanted to say ABSA is a rubbish bank.
We can't say it loud, they're going to kill us. No, but it's not to say, but yes. It could be that client was with Nedbank and ABSA wanted him as a client. Then maybe ABSA came up with things like that. Yeah. If you as I always advise the clients as well, if they buy more than one property, is to take out an access bond where they can consolidate the bonds. That is also very good, especially with you as developers. If you've got an access bond, then you can take money out there. Yeah. Any questions to this? Or some, yes.
If you can just explain this access bond, I'm interested in finding out just a little bit about it.
It's a type of bond. It's a type of a bond. They call it an access bond, meaning you can access capital that you paid in already. Say, for instance, your bond is $1 million and you paid off 200. Then you can access that to 100 again. You don't have to re-register a second bond.
And if I've got a property that I've paid off, but I have not closed it at the bank, it's still open, can I still access that money?
I'm sure you can. I think the bank might just ask you for some information, but yes, you can. The normal access bond, what you can also do is, say for instance, you buy a property, now you've got a bond, and now you buy a second property. Then you can go to the bank. I know FNB's got that function, and somebody told me Standard Bank has got the function. Shit about the other two banks, where then they up your original bond, and then they call it an access bond. I've sold a property in Pretoria North, and those people did it, where they've put the two properties on one bond. And they call it an access bond, yeah. And it works the same. If you sell the one, then they just pay that loan off for that one portion. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the interest rate is also better on an access bond. I'm not sure. That's what somebody told me, but I really don't know. I just mentioned. Okay. Any questions to this regard? Any questions? I would like us to do this misrepresentations tomorrow evening, because then I'm going to do some other practical work with you as well, and the misrepresentations. There's a form that we have to work through, but if we work through it now, we're going to take another half an hour away from you tonight. So is it fine if we just stop here? We carry not to make misrepresentations or to use harmful marketing techniques. No estate agent shall, in his capacity as an agent, publish any advertisement which could create the impression to be published by the owner, the seller or lessor of immovable property, or by a prospective purchaser or lessee of immovable property. And now I think there's a few of our agents. Dimakatsu is here. And who else did canvas the last 2 weeks on private property and junk mail and realized that there was an advert published by an agent pretending being the owner? If you get to me and you are an agent pretending to be an owner, you're in trouble. So you must not do that. That's misrepresentation. Or if you advertise a property, let's go through everything, then we come back. Willfully or neglectedly, in relation to his activities as an estate agent, make a false statement, whether orally or in writing, or sign a false statement in relation thereto, knowing it to be false, or knowingly or recklessly prepare or maintain any false books of accounts or other records, claim to be an expert or to have specialized knowledge in respect of any estate agency service, if in fact he is not such an expert or does not have such special knowledge, advertise or otherwise market immovable property in respect of which has been given a mandate to sell or let at a price or rental other than agreed upon with the seller or lessor of the property. Without derogating from the generally of the aforegoing, willfully or neglectedly misled in regard to any matter pertaining to the immovable property in respect of which he has a mandate, use any harmful or misleading marketing technique, use any firm or trading name in respect of his business, if such name may give rise to confusion on the part of the public in respect of the nature of the business carried on by him, Inform a seller or purchaser of immovable property in respect of which he has been given a mandate to sell or purchase, that he has obtained an offer in respect of the property from a purchaser or seller, as the case may be, unless such offer affix any board or notice to immovable property indicating that such property is for sale or hire or has been sold or let, unless the seller gives permission. Let's go back to willfully or negligently in relation to his activities as an estate agent make any false statement. What will you say is a false statement on a property? Let's take an office, a block of flats for instance. It says, maintain any false books of accounts or other records. If you take a block of flats, there is the income, the rental, rent roll, we call it the rent roll, to tell you exactly what is the income on that building. Some agents will tell you, yes, this income is 100,000, but they will not tell you that the expenses is 60,000. And then you must look what is the expenses for. What will you say is in a block of flats, the highest expense? Guess. Anybody guess?
Please repeat the question, Rina.
If you take a block of flats and you take your income and expenses, what will you say on expenses is the highest expense?
Mortgage payment.
Yes, Rina. Oh.
Kabela?
Rina, I'm going to take a guess, yeah?
Yes, Alex?
I'm going to say the lift and the swimming pool. On my experiences, when I went and looked for places to rent out, and I looked at the costs that were involved in rentals of for example, an apartment, and the two things that brought up the expenses was the lift and the swimming pool. I noticed that buildings that have lifts and cost more to rent out, more than buildings that do not have lifts and just have staircases, because it costs a whole lot more to maintain and service those things.
Yeah, because it's not only the maintenance, is that you must have a public insurance on that lift. You're 100% correct. You must have public insurance, and your public club is also quite high, and your tax, your municipality tax. Any other thing that you can think? If it's an ordinary business, not a property, I just want to make a comparison. If it's an ordinary business, like for in case the CNA, I'm not talking about the stock now. What will you say is your highest?
It will be rent.
If you sell an ordinary business, your salary is your highest expense normally. Okay, that's good. Claim to be an expert or to have specialized knowledge in respect of any estate agency service if in fact he is not such an expert or does not have such a special knowledge. Now this is now especially with us as developers and want to venture into quite a few venture possibilities. Can somebody just tell me what this means? Is it just residential properties? Okay, let me tell you. Say, for instance, tomorrow you start advertising, you're an estate agent now. And somebody comes to you and say, okay, I want to buy a petrol station. Petrol station is a property. So if you are not specialized in that specific line, you will not know what is the implication of a petrol station. And even so, a development land. Like we've heard from Dumisani last week about the zoning rights. How many of you have seen adverts where sellers or even estate agents advertise and say, oh, this property is ready to build on. And at the end of the day, your rights are not 100% in place. Or it's not been promulgated. Any other one that you can maybe mention? Okay, advertise or otherwise market immovable property in respect of which has been given a mandate to sell or let at a price or rental other than agreed upon with the seller or lessor of the property. This happens all the time. Oh my word. Estate agents, if I can just take my son's property again as an example, when he initially put the property in the market, he did not believe me how to do it, and he decided, no, I must call all the agents. Every agent in the area must come and list the property and advertise the property, because he thought this way he'll get all the buyers that's in the market. You know what? The original price at that time was 1.95 for the property, including the commission. There was an agent advertised that property for 1.55. There was another agent advertised that property for 2.45. Now, can you imagine yourself as a buyer going on Property 24, finding 43 agents advertised as one property? Some agent is pinching photos from another agent. So practically all the photos is very similar with that price range. There was no one coming through that house. At the end of the day, we had to take the house out of the market and we rented it out for 6 months. And I said to him, now I'm going to put it back in the market because I've got the mandate. It's not in South Africa anymore. Will you be able to sell it? I called 3 agents and I gave them a full list of what's in the property. And I've given them a written mandate conditionally, 1.850 with the commission included. And that is the only price they are allowed to advertise. Nothing else. They cannot decide I'll be happy with 100,000 or whatever commission they would like to be happy with. They can only advertise 1.85. And guess what? Within 2 weeks, we sold the property for that full price. So it's very important that when you advertise the property and we do the valuation of the property and we do the market study of the property, that you look what agencies are advertising that property and for what price are they advertising that property, and bring it under the seller's attention, because you are going to waste your time and your effort by getting involved in that property if that is such a big variety of prices on the market. The range is so big. Any questions?
Yes, Serena. In that event,
yes,
right, where there's misrepresentation, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun or I'm taking us back to last week, especially with regards to written mandates. So in the event where an estate agent advertises your house without the written mandate, and by luck or roll of a die, they come back and say, hey, guess what? I have a buyer, but you had no written mandate with that person, and like all of a sudden they call you, we have a buyer for you, 1, 2, 3, and you go to their website, you find, hey, this listing has been going on for 2 months. You know, and like you're saying, with another price that you never agreed with in writing or anything like that. Is there a recourse to that, or is just a review that says take my property, or is there a legal recourse for that?
If the seller can do that call, if the seller is quite happy, then you can't do anything with outside agents. But if the seller is not happy, what I did with my son's property at that time is I called all the agents through and say, listen, it's wrong, especially that one guy that did it for 1.55. I said, I just want to know who's going to pay the balance plus the submission. If he's going to, definitely we're not going to accept it for that price, so he will pay in the balance. There was agents that we, at the end of the time, had to contact Properties 24 and requested them to that property. What you can do, the owner can do legally, is that the owner can contact the estate agents board and actually report the agent. That is what the owner can do if he wants. Did I answer your question, Camilla?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
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 Yes, I don't know how to raise my hand.
No, it's fine. I can see you.
Okay, hi, how are you?
I'm finding yourself,
Yes, I've got three questions. Because I heard you saying you cannot sell or buy a property from yourself or for yourself or something like that. So now let's just go through 3 items. Number 1 is the legal subject, and number 2 is the agent, number 3 is a mandate. So now my understanding is that a legal subject is divided into 2. Number 1 is a human being, and number 2 is a company. So it means, again, the issue of an agent. An agent is someone who carries out the mandate. So now, the reason I'm asking is that if, let's say, for example, I own a property as a person, not as a company, so can my company not action a mandate to buy a property from myself or for myself?
Yeah, you can. You can use your company to buy, but you must remember you will also be liable in person. It's in the contract to say that because the company is not it's a legal entity, but it's not like a trust. You understand what I'm saying there? Yeah. So you can buy on the name of your company, but you will also in person be liable. And when it comes to the financials, they will ask your financials and your company's financials to get the bond, although the bond will be only on the name of the company.
Yes. So now the reason I'm asking, because I'm trying to understand the point where you said you couldn't buy, or I think your son or buy a house because it was maybe contradicting. I didn't get that clear, but what I didn't understand is that a company can act as a juristic person, can act on its own without me being part of it.
Not a company, just a trust, isn't it? Am I wrong?
Come again?
No. A company cannot act on its own legs. Only a trust can.
Okay.
As a company, all our contracts, it says that you give the company's details, name and registration number, and then you must say who's the directors, and then there's a clause in the contract to say that you as the directors are also legally liable if something goes wrong. But if it's a trust, normally in the trust documents, it says that the trustees who's acting on behalf of the trust are not legally liable.
So where, like in the case where I'm a shareholder but not a director, because you can own a company but not being a director of that company. What happens in that case?
Shareholders are not
Rina.
Well, the thing is, Moses, you can help there. You can help.
Yeah. So actually, the company can act. So as a director, you act on behalf of the company. So a company is a person like an individual. It's a juristic person, meaning that the company, like a PTY Ltd, it means the liability is carried by the company, not an individual. The moment there is a clause, it means you transfer your liability that is in the company to an individual. The moment there's that clause. So that's something to be careful of. Or what we call, you actually have to give, what's the word? You actually have to give surety, rather. It means you give surety that if anything happens in the company doesn't pay, then you have to sign a separate surety that says you are the one who will take that. Normally, the moment there's surety, there has to be assets that will cover for that surety. So it is that the company has to be a private company. It's an individual, it's a person, a legal person on its own.
Okay.
So where, like, I'm a shareholder but I'm not a director, who must take surety?
So it's whoever you. So okay, let me. Sorry, I'm losing that. So if the shareholders have to give authority to the director, it would you decide on who actually takes the surety, whether it's but the directors are the second people to take surety, and then a general shareholder.
Okay.
Because the directors, remember, they act on behalf of the shareholders. So in essence, if you are a director, you could be a director but not necessarily be a shareholder. The shareholders are the key people in the company. The director is just a representative. He's just given a mandate like any other employee.
Okay.
Does that answer all your questions? You've got 3 questions there.
Okay, yes, because actually what I wanted to understand, because an agent is someone who carries out the mandate. So I wanted to understand, because if they say it's a company which carries the mandate, not a person, so what happens there? So I think I'm 80% answered. So
Normally in a mandate, and I will show it to you, is that you give the mandate to the company, but there is the agent representing the company. So you've got the company's name and the agent's name in the mandate.
Okay.
Is that now answered?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. There was somebody else also that wanted to ask questions?
Yes, Rina.
Yes.
Hi, I just want to make a distinction. When we say director, there are 2 types of directors. I think in the past 4 or 5 years, when the CIPC changed and all CC are now supposed to change to PTYs. So everyone who opens a company now becomes a default director of that company. And by default, they are also the owners. This is for small businesses. But now when we go to Vodacom and we say the executive, the director of marketing and this and that, I think there is there's some bit of confusion. If I am a director at Vodacom or director of marketing, director of this or that, I'm not liable for anything that the company does. But a director of a small company wherein my name appears on the company documents of incorporation, that's wherein I'm a director and also a shareholder. Even though that company hasn't issued the share certificates, just by default of the fact that I'm the director that appears on that PTY, then I am a shareholder as well. So maybe we need to make a distinction when we say director. What kind of director are we referring to? Because the executive directors and non-executive directors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or input? I think we try to understand this now better. Thank you. Patricia, are you fine?
Okay,
without derogation from the generality of the foregoing, willfully or neglectedly misled in regard to any matter pertaining to the immovable property in respect of which he has a mandate. What will you say is willfully or neglectedly misled? What do you understand on that? Just give me one example, what you can just come in your head for now. Alex, you want to try it?
Rina?
Yes, I'm going to try, Rina.
Yes, okay.
Okay, who's talking? Willfully, negligently misleading content pertaining to a property. I would say, if, for example, the property has issues, I don't know, like leaks or cracks, or is not in good working order, but the person tells you, no, everything is fine, you won't have any issues with the building, and then someone buys the property and begins to experience problems with the property, or maybe it could be accounts with municipality, and then the person buys the property, and then maybe a month or two down the line, they start having issues, and municipality starts following this new owner. That he was misled.
Yeah, building plans is an easy one out. That's your department. Is most agents, although they know, maybe the sellers told them, yes, this LAPA is not on the building plan, they just keep quiet and pray that the financial institutions are not going to ask for the building plans, and you as the buyer is not going to insist on building plans, and that will come to your pocket. Luckily, I just want to mention where it comes to the municipality taxes, you must remember there is in the Consumer Protection Act, there is an act covers you to say that is why there must be clearance figures. The registration attorney cannot submit at the deeds office if the clearance certificate is not there. And it is so important for you to make sure in your sale agreement that you sign with an estate agent, and as an estate agent, make sure that clause of your company is in there to say that if the purchase goes through, the purchaser will not be liable for the seller's outstanding amount. Because what happened in the past, and that's why they did bring the law in, it was not the seller misleading the agent or the purchaser's mistakes. The municipality is making mistakes. And then you land up as the new purchaser with an account one day of 20,000, 30,000 Rand, and I've seen it. And now there's a law to say that once registration happens, on that day, there's a reconciliation the attorney is doing. You can even, as a purchaser, asking for that reconciliation. And you keep it. If the municipality one day comes, turn around and say you owe this amount, then you can say, sorry, this is my contract. In my contract said, I've signed it, I won't be liable, and this is the account that was reconciled. Then they cannot keep you liable. They cannot keep you liable. So there is an act now covers you up on that one. Anything else on this? Use any harmful or misleading marketing technique. Oh my, there's the easiest one. Advertise a property with a ridiculous low price. Make it 5 bedrooms with a swimming pool and a jacuzzi for 500,000. You know how many calls are you going to get on that ad? Be honest, I've done it in my life earlier. But it's misleading. You're not allowed to do that. To put a false ad on, and then when clients call you, say, sorry, that property is being sold. You know, you as a client can insist asking where was that property and go out to that property. Use any firm or trading name in respect of his business if such name may give rise to confusion. Yes, sorry, Kabela.
But why would someone do that? Why would they put up a false advert and say, sorry, it was sold? Like, what would...
To get clients. To get clients.
Let's say, for example, like I say, you've listed a property for 500,000. Then someone calls and inquire and you say, sorry, that property is sold. You did not get a client, or you mean that after you rope the client in, you're going to refer them to another property that you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what you do.
All right.
Yeah.
To get clients.
Rina?
Yes.
Yeah, I've also had a similar incident when I was buying a property where we're staying currently. So they've got the advert on the website, and as soon as you are interested in that particular property, they set up the appointment, you come. As soon as you meet up with them, no, that one is gone, but I can show you other similar. So it's the way of them. It's a marketing technique, as you say.
Yeah, it's a misleading marketing technique.
Yes.
I'd say there is, give it 50% chance that that property was really sold. But then you can still ask, please take me to that property. Are you sure that buyer or that contract that you've signed on that property will go through? Because I know that sometimes we can sign up to 3 contracts on one property, and maybe the last one will go through. So you can actually insist to go to that property as a purchaser. So we as agents must make sure that whatever you advertised, you can prove it's real. Use any firm or trading name in respect of his business if such name may give rise to confusion on the part of the public in respect of the nature of the business carried on by him. Like for in case, what can I use? Yeah, a misleading trading name, like, it was not an easy one.
I think I have a good one, but it's not related.
But say.
So, for example, if you check in cars, there's we buy cars, you know.
Yeah.
So then others, it's like e-buy cars. It's a bit similar, and you would think that if you don't read carefully, you would think that it's we buy cars.
Yeah. That's 100% correct. Yes, Kabela, thanks. Inform a seller or purchaser of immovable property in respect of which he has been given a mandate to sell or purchase that he has obtained an offer in respect of the property from a purchaser or seller, as the case may be, unless such offer affix any board. Is there something wrong there? I think that comes from the marketing material. Yeah. I'll just check on that one. Is in writing, it must be short there, is in writing or it has been signed by the offerer and is to the knowledge of the estate agent concerned a bona fide offer. So if you do not have an offer, you cannot call the owner and say, I do have an offer, because if it's an open mandate, that owner will now wait for you to come and present your offer, and they might put other agents off that really do have an offer. You are not allowed to affix any board or notice to an immovable property indicating that such property is for sale or hire or has been sold or let, unless the seller gives permission. In our selling our offer to purchase, there is at the end, after everybody accepted, there is a paragraph where the seller will give you permission to put a board up. But now to put boards up onto a property, you must also make sure that it's according to the bylaws of the municipality. Because we as estate agents have to pay actually the municipality a fee to put boards up. I know a lot of our agents don't do it, but you are actually obliged to do it. That's why the municipality officials can actually take the boards down. This last weekend, as I drove through Pretoria North, I can only see boards down on the pavement. And then I know those guys did not pay that fee at the municipality. And that's a costly fee. It's per agent, about 900 Rand per year. And there can only be 2 boards up legally at a property, not more than 2. If there is more than 2 boards up, the municipality officials can actually fine the seller. Although they don't really do it, but according to the bylaw, it can happen. Any questions up to here? Activity
Yes.
20. Yes, okay, Kabela.
Just to take you back, what you're saying, you said something about when you go to a property and they say, oh, there's an offer under it. You alluded to something that says that another offer can be placed when there's actually an offer, or how does it work? The offer must be declined first before another offer can go through in the case of an open mandate, right?
Yeah,
so you're an agent. So you're an agent, you're selling this property, but the seller already has an offer from another agent and did not make you aware, and you come with an offer from another client. Can 2 offers be made at the same time, or one must wait until the offer lapses?
What we normally do is that we ask the sellers to, in the first contract, he must say that he's not going to take the property out of the market and that he can sign another OTP. If that clause is not in the first contract, then the seller cannot sign more than 1 contract. If that clause is in the contract, in layman's language, we call it a backdoor clause. Then the owner can sign another OTP. And if that OTP also has got that same clause, he can sign another OTP. But the one must wait till the cancellation of the first one, for in case maybe they didn't get a bond or the time was running out on which they perform, to get a bond. So it depends on your contract. What does the contract say? Can he sign yes or no? Kabela,
Right.
did that answer?
Yes, that answered it for me. So meaning a seller can ask an agent to say, well, can we have that, what do you call it,
backdoor clause?
Backdoor clause. So a seller has the right to ask.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
thank you.
You must remember as an estate agent, really, and also as the developer, that whatever is signed on that contract, the suspensive condition and the time frames on that condition are crucial. Because if you have a second order and a third offer on the table signed, the first offer, the moment that, say for instance, the bond has not been approved timelessly, immediately lapsed if there's no deposit. Remember, a deposit proves to the seller your intention to buy. If you have a deposit on the table, the seller must, according to the common law, put you on terms to rectify, and he must cancel your contract. If you have not put a deposit down, if it's 100% bond, and that day come on what day ever, and you did not get a letter from the bank saying, yes, you qualify for a bond, that contract automatically lapses and the second contract kicks in and you do not have any leg to stand on. Did I make it clear?
Yes, it does, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas.
Yes, actually, I remember now. The reason why I asked a question earlier, actually, I wanted to get to where, like, if I have two companies, one is as a real estate and the other one as a developer, can one do business with the other?
Just repeat it again.
If, let's say, I have two companies, the other one is real estate, the other one is I'm a developer. Can one do business with the other one?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Because if you are a developer and you have you are an estate agency, is that what you asked?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you've got two companies. It is the same as if you have a car dealership plus a tire company. So the tire companies can supply tires to the car dealership.
Okay. Thank you.
You must just be open. That's the thing. You must be open on the documents.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, activity 25. Misrepresentation. Individual activity. An estate agent places an advertisement in a local newspaper offering a property for sale. The advertisement contains a full color picture of the house and a description of its features. The advertised asking price is obviously below market value and is based ostensibly on the fact that it is an urgent sale. A prospective purchaser reacting to the advertisement contacts the estate agent and is advised that the house has already been sold. The estate agent, having made contact with the purchaser, now invites the purchaser to view other properties which the agent has for sale. It later transpires that the estate agent never had a mandate to offer the property for sale and that the offending advertisement was simply placed as bait. Are the actions of the real estate agent legal and or ethical? What are the implications of his actions? Motivate your answer. Let's take number 2. What are the legal implications of his actions?
I think the legal implications, the seller can report this agent to number one, the buyer can report him to his agency and also the estate agency of his board, because this is unethical and probably illegal as well. He took a house that is out there, that is not for sale. In a way, Rina, can't I, as the owner of the property, also take action against this agent?
Yes, he can. Say, for instance, I might, if you read it through, it says that the agent does not have a mandate.
Yeah.
So it looks as if this property was really in the market, but because it was well priced, this agent used that property as bait. So it was a genuine property that's for sale. Then the seller and the purchaser can report him, number 1. And the purchaser can, if he knows which property it is, can go straight to the seller and do the deal, and the agent will not get commission.
All right.
Is that clear? Is any other questions? Anything? Okay, so this is an individual activity. I think we're going to stop here tonight because this is now the office and the contracts. On office and contracts, we're going to spend quite at least an hour or hour and a half, and we will do it tomorrow evening. And I'm going to bring in a real contract and work it through with you. Anything else that you would like to see in this office and contracts? Maybe just for me to make sure that I cover everything. Was there any problems that you had in the past that you want us to address? Okay, then I will do what my intention was on the office and contracts. Any other questions up to where we came to for tonight? No questions. Victor, are you still there?